This is just the beginning. That's the world that we live in. Let me help you believe in what we can do when we stand united. We are one with the world. We can make a brighter tomorrow. Together make a change. It's our life. We can't step back from what we know is right.
So warm welcome, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about reinventing retirement with Ricardo and the 50 plus chapter. So now we're going to see a little bit video about Sanjoy welcoming all of you to Catalyzing Change Week.
Hi, I'm Sanjoy Roy, the co-chair of the Catalyzing Change Week Programming Committee. Welcome to CCW 2024. This is where you'll meet social innovators, change makers, folks from government and from bilateral agencies. And of course, this is a place to look at best practices, share ideas and innovations, and enjoy networking with each other. Welcome to the session. Hi, I'm Sanjay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Maria?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi. Can you hear me there? I'm trying to switch off the smartphone. Yep. So, hello everyone. Sorry for the troubles, and I'm a double. Oh, okay. Let's go ahead. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you very much, Maria, for the for the support and your patience with us. Thank you very much, Sonia. I know you had problems with your system there. And welcome, Christiana, Barbara, Miriam, Barbara Miller, Gordian, and all the other participants for this session. It's going to be very, very informal, very conversational. And we are going to start to introducing ourselves to the audience. And so I would like to introduce myself as Ricardo Neves, as the coordinator of the 50 Plus chapter. I'm based in Berlin. And I'm going to pass the ball to Sonia Gill, our co-founder. She will introduce herself, and then we will follow to the other participants.
Well, hello, I'm Sonia Gill. I am co-founder of the 50 Plus chapter, Ricardo Neves. We have been long-term partners. We have had many projects together. We have had an NGO in Rio de Janeiro in the 90s. I graduated in architecture, and then I moved on to work as an artist. So I'm a creative working with artificial intelligence today. And I have as Ricardo likes to say, the skin in the game of aging. I'm over 60. And Ricardo and I decided to come to Europe in our 60s and reinvent ourselves, have new projects, new adventures. So that's it. That is my very short introduction. Not hearing. Okay, so has everybody introduced themselves? So Ricardo was going to talk about the history of the 50 plus, and then I would talk about the objectives of the 50 plus chapter for 2024. So I'm gonna do that right now, and then as soon as Ricardo can have his sound, he can do his part. So the objectives for the 50 plus chapter are first, fast tracking the registration process of the 50 plus chapter as a legally non-profit entity in Germany. We started doing that and it's taking longer than we would like. We hope to do this May and June. And then we want to establish a membership base in Germany and at least half of the European Union member states, which are 27, so about 14 member states, to have a membership in at least 40. And then we want to apply to become a member of the Civil Society Liaison Group, European Economic and Social Committee. And the aim of that is to influence the reform of policy making of the European Union framework for older people. And then we want to explore opportunities to develop international activities with the aim to advance our mission to promote a fresh perspective on aging, longevity, and intergenerational solidarity. So those are the objectives. Ricardo, have you got your sound?
Well, let's try it now. Are you hearing me?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Great. Well, Sonia, we would like to, on my side, I would like to make a brief summary of the activities of the 50 Plus so far. And then I will pass the ball for the Christiane, Barbara, and Gordian so they can introduce themselves and let people know why they are joining the 50 Plus as a founding members.
Oh, they have already introduced themselves while you didn't have sound.
No, they didn't have. They didn't. They introduced themselves, but they were not online.
Oh, they were not online. Okay.
They were not online.
So, okay, it was a rehearsal.
Yeah, it was a rehearsal.
Oh, it was not being recorded. Okay.
Yeah, we had the problem with the the system, and basically, the idea is that well, we have to improvise. Let's start with the introduction of Christiane, and then we pass the ball to Gordian and then to Barbara.
Okay, now you can hear me.
Yeah.
Greetings from Hamburg. I'm Christiane, 53 years old. I'm a communication and marketing expert. And I launched a private project 2-3 years ago together with a friend of mine. It's called Age of Style. When we experienced that getting older and being in need of a product that is maybe age-related, like glasses or a walking rollator or so, you all of a sudden find yourself treated as patient, not as person. And that was really irritating. So we began to build up a platform where we present products that are ageless, universal designed, with a different and diverse approach. We want to inspire the industry and the society to think different about developing new services and products, how they have to feel, how they have to look like. And this is we have a network of inspired and very innovative entrepreneurs and people who are in the longevity field developing things. This is how I came to Sonia and Ricardo, and they gave me the opportunity to be part of the first roadshow in Berlin. Yes, and this is, since then, I'm very interested in bringing this topic, to make it bigger, make it louder, and I collect people from all over the world by now who are interested also already in the 50 plus chapter topic. So it's really interesting. They say, what are you planning there? Can we be part of it? And how would that look like? I don't know, but yes, let's give them an answer.
Thank you very much, Christiana. Now the ball is on Gordian, please.
Yes. So let me start with aging is beautiful. I'll give you a little bit more about this later. I'm actually 57. I quickly had to calculate because I actually don't care. And if you would ask me right away, I would give you a wrong answer, most probably. Anyway, I think that there is a lot of things we can do when talking with or listening to the views of people when it comes to age, because it has massively changed even during our times to become older. So because when I remember when I was 10 or 20, 60 was an age group that were basically departing, but now we are not, because we are in the middle of what I would call the life, because I expect to become 120, so I do have another life in front of me that I would like to use in a more creative, more innovative, and passionate way. I am really passionate. I am working on something that is impact driven. It is the topic of decision competence trainings. We have found a lot of mental stress with young people, but it's not only with young people, because I was talking with a blog post who is working with baby boomers, and there's a lot of decisions pending as well. So that's something that I would like to bring to the paper as well, and other topics. A friend of mine is working on a walking system for elderly people. So because he said, I don't want to walk with the things that are available at this point, because they look horrible. They are not really in terms of technical possibilities to the point they can be. So what is the need that we have in terms of possibilities and matching our needs that have grown over time? So and I think discussion is the best way to go on. And I don't want to be called ever again old white man from a girl in a train, ever. So, but that's actually from my side, and I'm in discussion with Ricardo for quite a long time now, and we never talked about age. It was more about passion, and then all of a sudden age came in, and Ricardo, I think that was not a difficult task to convince me to join and bring whatever I can do to the table.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Now let's give the floor to Barbara.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the invitation. Pleasure to be here and meet all of you this afternoon. So I'm Barbara. I'm based in Berlin. I'm a social impact professional working in the field for 20 years. It's a field of philanthropy, social economy, sustainability, community building, and leadership. I worked most of my time on Asia, yeah, but also across Europe. I work with the BMW Foundation. It's a corporate foundation of BMW, the car maker. But currently, I'm enjoying the final days of a 12 months sabbatical leave that not only gave me the possibility to spend time in my most favorite countries and places, but it also gave me the possibility to pursue some of my micro ambitions that usually don't fit into our professional lives. And it was also a time for me, and maybe that's the bridge to our conversation here today, to rethink or to think about it all together, what I want to do within the next couple of years during my professional life, but then also during retirement. And from this really personal journey, I have always a very optimistic outlook on life. And I'm very optimistic that my life also in the 60s or 70s can be a good, maybe even better life than today. But of course, we never know. But then I also feel that that it's not only on us as individuals to reflect on our future and retirement, but that we are really facing some societal challenges, and that we need to look for a system change. And it has been mentioned by Gordian and Christina before. I also strongly feel that we need new narratives, a wider variety of stories about aging, also other role models. I find most talking about aging is either very pessimistic and connotated with the loss of capabilities and skills, or it's, from my point of view, a little bit cheesy. Like if you get addressed as a customer, then it's all like silver ages and how beautiful this phase of life will be, but maybe that's also not an adequate picture. So that's a little bit about my motivation to be part of the founding of 50 Plus chapter. And I really hope, I think, or I feel that there is a momentum in many societies to rethink and reinvent aging. And I hope that we can contribute to this much needed societal change.
Thank you very much, Barbara, Gordian, Christian, for the introduction. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about how we developed the story of 50 Plus chapter within Catalyst 2030. And then how we came to the idea to transition the chapter into an NGO, aiming to create international impact on three major issues. Redefine the narrative for longevity, for getting older, combat the ageism, and to promote intergenerational solidarity. So to make a long story short, I would say that as a social entrepreneur, I was connected from the day zero to the idea of Jeru Bilimori of bringing together social entrepreneurs and NGOs and people who would like to promote a transformation with the idea of the Catalyst 2030 and the social development goals. So in one of my meetings with Jeru, in the very beginning, we just had online meetings because we were still in the pandemics, and it was late 2020. And in 2021, I called Geru and said to her, Geru, it's a wonderful thing, the Catalyst 2030. I really think I feel myself part of this community, but somehow I would like to bring to the table the issue of longevity. And then she said to me, well, what do you mean by that, Ricardo? I said to her, one of the reasons that I came to Europe because I felt that most of my fellows in Brazil were getting tired of life, and all they are facing a retirement as a golden prize, as a golden dream. What I do not agree. I'm thinking it's very distant from me, the idea of a retirement. It doesn't make sense for me, retirement. And then Geru said that it's interesting, Ricardo, because the Catalyst 2030 is actually my project of retirement. And so I said here, perhaps we should create something special for the baby boomers. And then we came to the idea of the 50 plus. So we should bring together people who are transitioning from the professional life and starting to face years and years ahead of them. I remember that I had a conversation with a CEO who was retiring, with actually a VP from a multinational French company. And the guy with 62 years old was telling me that he was absolutely tired of the career, and she would like to retire. And then I asked, what are you going to do? I'm going to do nothing. And then I asked him, you are going to do nothing for the next 30 years of your life? Because with the life expectancy, that's something that we baby boomers can expect. And the guy told me that he had no idea what to do. Because, he devoted his 40 years of career to one company, and he couldn't, the individuality was completely diluted. So he acknowledged to me that he had no role model, just the idea of doing nothing retirement. So then we decided that we should have some more activity, more agitation with the 50 plus chapter. And then last year, I came to Geru and said to her and proposed to her to make a roadshow. So the idea is when you do not do exactly what to do, you have to do something like to travel around, make a travel, And then we came up with the idea of the roadshow. And the roadshow, the idea was to make some big cities in Europe, bringing together baby boomers and people thinking about what to do next instead of the doing nothing retirement. And then we started the roadshow in September 21st in BMW Foundation. And it was a great success. In this way, we had a very great start. And after the BMW Foundation, the meetup there, we went to Amsterdam, we went to London, we've been in Lisbon, we've been in Bonn, and always the idea was to have a bunch of people around a big table. It could be 10 people, it could be 20 people, it could be 30 people, but the idea was to discuss how we could involve with the SDGs and at the same time to deal with the challenges of getting older, to how we could contribute with a new narrative for getting older. And a turning point, a very special point was when in a meeting that we had in Brussels on February this year on 60s. So we were invited by the civil society liaison group to make a presentation for the European Union Social and Economic Committee. And the guys were in love with our idea. Because right now, there is in European committee a group which is discussing about how we can construct another framework for older people. So they are realizing that the policy making for older people is always understand that people are very vulnerable, that they are in the last chapter of their life. And because of the life expectancy, the baby boomers are now facing more 30 years ahead. So instead of seeing these people as a social asset, those people should be regarded as contributors, are an active for the society. And so at this moment, I came back from Brussels and start discussing about making the 50 Plus an NGO. And this come to this point that Sonia are going to, once again, to brief you about the objectives that we have now, that we have 18 people are the founding members of the 50 Plus chapter as an NGO based here in Berlin. So Sonia, if you could summarize our objectives for the people now, and then we are going to open up the floor for discussions about, comments,
Okay.
suggestions.
So the objectives are fast tracking the registration process of the 50 Plus chapter as a legally non-profit entity in Germany, establishing a membership base in Germany and half of the European Union member states, applying to become a member of the civil society liaison group, European Economic and Social Committee, to influence the reform of policymaking of the European Union framework for older people. And then last, exploring opportunities for international activities to advance our mission, to promote a new mindset about aging, longevity, and intergenerational solidarity. So that's it.
So just before open up the floor for our guests, I would say that we are very excited here in Berlin this week with the Berlin longevity week in Berlin. So there is a bunch of people who are here in Berlin trying to create a movement in such a way that Berlin can be a global capital of longevity in terms of science, in terms of biotech, in terms of redefining the narrative for getting older. And one of the events that we've been yesterday in the Google Berlin, it was very interesting because it was a discussion about longevity. However, the point of view was totally millennial generation. Just to give you an idea how it's a very intriguing how people understand that the human species are going to live. It's going to be a normal thing to have a centenary life. One of the presentation of the startups there in the Google Berlin office was a millennial woman of 37 years old, and she created a startup which is the business model or the core business is because of fertility for the millennials. It's a big issue for the millennials because they have a longer life, so they are procrastinating the maternity in such a way that the women can devote their more longer time to the career. And this is a big problem for them because, with 35 years old, something like that for a human, it's age that it becomes more complicated, let's say, to get pregnant. And then the discussion is about freezing eggs, about how you can plan your fertility in the new longevity narrative and the new longevity. So you see that longevity brings a challenge. It's a reward for us. It's amazing because the next generations are going to live 100 years, but we are all in the same boat with different aspects. So when we are talking about promoting intergenerational solidarity, it means that we baby boomers have to put ourselves in the shoes of the other ones, of the Z generation, of the millennials, and vice versa. So that's it.
Can I have the word, Ricardo?
I spoke already too much.
So yesterday at the Google Berlin event of the longevity week in Berlin, Ricardo and I went to see to check the event, and it's very interesting how the millennium view of aging is different from ours. They say that they put aging as a disease to be cured. So they want investment for their projects to cure aging. So projects like biohacking, body replacement, and whole body cryopreservation and revival. So if you have a disease, you can freeze your body and wait for the discovery of the cure, things like that. And Ricardo and I see the new longevity as an opportunity to have more life, bring more life into the years, have more quality of life with purpose, lifelong learning, living with purpose, celebrating life. I think that research is about body replacement can be important. Some discoveries are really important for some replacements, but not that as a concept, you know. Otherwise, it's for me it's a perversion to imagine. It's like stopping aging. I mean, everything in nature ages. We all age. And I see the millennials so worried because I think in our 20s, we think we're immortal. This is not an issue. And after our 30s, and I'm starting to see that with my daughter, who is turning 30 this year, and starting to get worried about a lot of things she didn't worry before. Even lines of expression, because this generation is putting Botox injections to end up with the lines of expression, and they're 60s. I'm 63, and I'm not worried about that. So it's another perspective, but it's interesting to have these insights because we must have these talks between generations and see what projects the millennials are thinking about. So I found it very interesting, this Berlin Longevity Week. So that's it. That's what I wanted to say. Go ahead.
So, Christiane, let's start with you. Your comments, suggestions, recommendations.
We don't have enough time for all of my ideas, recommendations, and comments. It's still, the space is still very wide open to my mind. If the topics we can talk about, or we can try to make a change. What I love is the inclusive aspect. What you said, Sonia, is so important, to see the different perspectives of generations, and then we have to stop to talk about generations, I think, because we have to speak about people in different phases of their life, in different stages, and has nothing to do with being 20 or 30 or being a boomer. The boomer is for me the same like the old white man. This is an idea, And the longer you say the word, the more impact it gets. So let's talk about generations and put emphasis on something that maybe doesn't exist or just in our minds. So what I think is I would like to know when can we say as Chapter 50 Plus we are successful? This is a success. I have a lot of soft goals in my mind, and they are so big, like changing the narrative, showing positive pictures of aging, find your peace with the loss of things, and yes, understand life as a permanent change, and everything changes, begins and ends, and something new begins. But I don't want to be the wise old person telling the younger this. But I want that the society has a shift in the perspective on aging people. And yes, we are right. Some of us retire and they have the chance to do something with their life because they are wealthy enough and healthy enough. And there are also many people who can't make a living without work, who retire, but it's not enough to survive the way they would like to live. We also have to have these people in mind. And then we also have to have the people in mind that need help, that are in the care sector. We have to take care of. And yes, maybe I'm 70 and my mother is 95 and I'm old, she's even older, and maybe I need care and help, and she too. So these are the challenges, because we don't want to be seen as patients and as people who need help. We want to be seen as people, as persons with the same different dreams, maybe from 30-year-old, but still having dreams and longings, and want to be seen as a person that wants to have a choice. And we should change the society and go into politics to take care that this is not overlooked. Just my few thoughts.
Well, Gordian, let's hear you.
Yes, so actually, thank you, Christiane, because I really loved it. So there was actually, as we know, there is a lot of history in Germany that we, thank God, learned from. Sometimes you can doubt this, sometimes I'm really proud of this because we really learned. And there was a statement, and that said, be a human. And that's something that I really miss in the whole discussion. So when I said that aging is beautiful, yes, aging is beautiful, but I can resonate with Christiane's mentioning, it comes with pain, because we do think about, do we have to give space? What can we leave? What do we have to give to others? And that's everything that we need to do. And I can actually, from my experience, I can say that working as a lecturer for almost 20 years, I really found that working with the young people and lecturing them in a certain topic was not a one-sided street. It was actually kind of giving me back so much more than I could give to the students, because it was a continuous learning by listening. And that's something that I see that is actually avoiding patronizing. If you are able to listen, and if you're able to really, and that's basically what Sonia mentioned as well, if we understand what others think and where their arguments are coming from, then we are open to really go into real discussion. And that was something that Hannah Arendt mentioned ages ago. So I think we should really stop being this parenting and whatsoever. I think we should really kind of go into discussion. And it's all about trying to connect and really bring the best in the discussion to the table. And that's something that I think is something that I would like to see from chapter 50 plus. And it's actually an invitation to 50 plus and 50 minus. So because we cannot do it just by ourselves, we need to have everybody on the table. And if I can do something for this, I'm happy to.
Thank you very much, Gordian. Now the ball is with you, Barbara.
Thank you. And maybe one first remark, really building on what Gordian just has said. So my ambition for this, the 50 plus chapter would also be that it is a place for self-reflection, also for people of our generation, because it's not only, you know, that we want to be seen differently by others, by the society, but it's also the way how we present ourselves. And there seems to be certain tendencies that sometimes came with age, like, I don't know, loss of curiosity or tendency to speak more than listening. You know, it's all very stereotyping and just putting it here. And I think you know what I'm talking about. So if we could create this space, I think that would be really fantastic. Another idea that I find very interesting is I see there are a lot of initiatives and institutions now approaching the topic with different perspectives. And I think it would be great if it could be a platform and also a facilitator of exchange between different organizations and initiatives. And one third idea or wish from my side is, I think there's a big beauty in starting this internationally and not like, okay, this is a German initiative, because I think that also brings an extra layer, like aging is perceived and dealt with differently in different countries and cultures. And I also feel that that's also my personal interest. I think there's a big learning to see what's happening already in other countries, and so on.
Maria, is there any kind of burning issues in the chat?
Yes, we have one question that comes from the Q&A, and they are asking, how are you thinking to combat the idea that all people who have a certain amount of life experience are stereotypical okay boomer types? How can we show the joy and kindness of aging instead of painting people at this age as curmudgeons who hate everything?
So please step up and deal with the questions. Who is going to do that? Face the lion. Gordian, as a lecturer.
I'm sorry, but I didn't get the question. I was just quickly checking if I can find it to read it again, but so it was not in the Q&A.
So
can you repeat it, Maria, please?
Could rephrase it.
We add it again in the chat. It was in the Q&A box, but I added lately.
Okay.
So it's mainly as well about how can we shape or shift the narrative about.
Yeah, I immediately thought about Gordian dealing with this question because with his experience of being a professor.
So actually, I think how to show the happiness and joy of becoming older. I don't have a ready-made solution. I think you will find all sorts of individuals in all ages, and the problem is you feel the age yourself, and I don't know how you can twist it So it's actually, Barbara mentioned that she sees or the stereotype of losing curiosity. When my son came back from school and he told us that his teacher was not interested to learn the new whiteboard because he is going on retirement in a year, this is not showing that aging can be fun. If you patronize everything, so you don't listen to others, then people don't want to talk to you anymore. So, and that was one of the biggest compliments I got from the students, was that when the student said, you know, the fun part with you is that we learn, but you're not trying to force us to learn. We learn by heart, and that's the point. And I don't know if there is a recipe. I think there's a lot of personality things in it. But if you stop trying to perform and be authentic, I think that's the first step. I would say. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but I don't. Christiane, maybe you can.
I think we show this by showing it, by being an example. Personally, but also with the projects we have in mind, with the events we plan or so. We have to be there. We have to be a good example. I think that's the only way to prove it, that there's more to a boomer than an okay boomer setting. So, and maybe this is also important for the association, the chapter 50 plus, to be in the mission. Maybe it has to be part of the mission, that this is our tone of voice, that our goal, that whenever we act, we keep this in mind, to show the joy and kindness of aging that's in it, not denying all the problems and the negative things, yeah? But should be our Haltung. What do you say? How do you say it in English? Attitude.
We have
Ricardo,
a question from
Ricardo,
Manoj.
do you mind if I jump in here?
No, please. Manoj,
Yep.
welcome. Manoj is it's coming from us from New York City. And he's an old fellow.
No, great to be here, and good to see you again, Ricardo, and really amazing to see the work that's being done here. I just want to try and answer this question which is asked, because, and I think in some ways, Christian, you answered it, because I've done a lot of work with the youth, and I think you've got to carry, you have to demonstrate that you genuinely feel that age is not a barrier. Right? So if you feel young, and I think, Gordian, you talked earlier about you don't even think about what your age is. So if you genuinely believe that you're not old and that you're young at heart and in your mind, that comes across, right? So the stereotype comes because the youth have this in their mind, that the people who are 50, 60, 70 plus behave a certain way. So there is this generation of people who are here presenting today who actually genuinely believe that age is not a barrier. They want to continue flourishing in life. And if you genuinely believe, that shows. So I've done a lot of work with the youth, both organizationally, but also I was teaching here, similar to you, Gordian, at Columbia University. And the feedback I always got was similar to what you're saying, that they saw that joy in my eyes, but at the same time, you've got to be prepared to be actually not just being patronizing, but taking on board what you can learn from the youth. They have so much to offer. You've got to open your mind instead of just lecturing and saying, hey, I've got all this experience, I can share this with you. Move on and actually accept that they have a lot to offer. We have 2 grown-up kids at home. I learn from them every day. Right? Sometimes they make me look foolish with their remarks about, the things I haven't thought about. So I think we genuinely need to believe that we have a lot to offer, but we also have a lot to learn. And I love working with the youth. One of my latest mentees is a 27-year-old who's blazing the world at the moment, right? And she loves working with me. I love working with her. And so I just think it's about how do you demonstrate, how do you present yourself?
Yeah, I would say that it's a kind of a permanent, ongoing exercise. I mean, I think we have to give up the let's say the idea that we should be treated as authority in something. No, we are not, for instance, lecturers. We are facilitators. And we are always ongoing learning. We are continuous learning new things. The good teachers are those who are ongoing learning new things. So experience is not a good thing in times of innovation. So this is the very first point. For instance, and during this longevity week in Berlin here, most of the presentations are promoted by millennials, and I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm deaf of listening instead of trying to judge and try to, to exhibit my knowledge and authority and experience, because it's not it's a positive thing. So we have to give up this kind of issue of expectation. I mean, one of the points that I had of disagreement of my baby boomer fellows is that they want to receive a lot of respect because of their experience, and that it's meaningful. It's a barrier that you are creating in the relationship with the newer generations. So forget about the respect because of your age. It's not because of that.
Cody, you got your hand up. You wanted to comment something.
Yes. So actually, I do have one thing that I would love to put on the table, because if we all agree in everything, that's a little bit boring to me, because I do have one problem. If you look at the narrative, it was always talking about startups, young companies, young innovation, young whatsoever. And I think in society, we made this twist that innovation must be coming from young individuals. Young startups must come from young people, and so on. And I think we should really, the only way I see is to respect others, is to respect yourself first. So, and I think what we need to do as well is to really come to the point where we see that innovation is coming. We don't know where it comes from. So it can come from someone 70 years old, because this person is listening and watching and observing a problem that needs a solution. But at the same time, it can come from a 5-year-old. So I don't want to have this limited to age. And I see with a lot of organizations that they focus and foster young individuals so much because they believe that they can only do it. And we lose out on the possibilities that others bring to the table as well. So that's something that I would like to really make a point for, because I think it's dangerous, because the respect that we show to the young people needs to come back in reverse as well. And it doesn't mean that they need to call you whatever, sir, or whatever, but it is listening, and listening is two-sided. It's not one-sided, because then it's not working.
Yeah. Ricardo, may I just say one more thing?
No, I'm listening now. We have Romina. Romina is also here. She's also really based here in Berlin, and she's of our membership, founding membership. Welcome, Romina. What's your point?
Hi everyone. Thank you for the introduction. Yeah, I'm really proud to be with Ricardo and Sonia, and 50. I'm not 50, but I'm thinking about the innovations, and innovations you could see everywhere. So I'm really glad to hear these kind of words, because I work, Maria showed me also with youth. I'm working with youth, but at the same time, I can hear in both groups the same. And Maria could say the same. which is exactly the same, have the same kind of issues, the kind of, okay, anxious and everything, but at the same time, they want to grow. And I try to not hear more, I'm older. No, I'm not older. I'm growing. I'm still growing. And my grandmother is still growing. So this is kind of change the narrative, change the way of mind, and start to be there where the innovation is, and help to get involved with the people, get more entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, wherever you have. Whatever age you have, wherever grow or node you are. So these the kind of things I'm very proud to join Ricardo and Sonia and chapter and everyone here in Berlin. So yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. We have 3 more minutes, so I would like to make 1 minute of remarking the points that we have in our agenda now. We are going to speed up the discussion about the statutes of the 50 Plus as an NGO registered to be registered here in Berlin, and we are trying to have it sorted out by the end of this month, and after that we are taking off for more daring goals. And I thank you all for your attention, and please keep in touch. We will continue as part of the ecosystem which is nurtured by Catalyst 2030. Jeru Billy Moria is part of our founding membership. And thank you very much, you guys. And to Sonia for the final wrap up. You are mute, Sonia.
Okay. I think I was muted because my cat was crying here. But she's a 50 plus. Actually, she's 84 because she's a 17-year-old cat. And she's reinventing herself as well. She's a traveling cat now because we lost her brother. They came from Brazil with us, and they've been in Lisbon. They have passport. They have animal passport. She's here in Berlin now, and we take her everywhere we go because we don't want to leave her alone. So she became the traveling cat. So she's an example. She's an example that you can reinvent yourself as you age. Well, to wrap up, I would like to tell you about our new book. Ricardo and I have just written a book called New Longevity, and it's going to be published early June. A final revision is being made, and then immediately after will come the other editions in Portuguese, in Spanish, and perhaps we're working on the second half of the year to have in German and French. So that's the good news. And it's not an academic book. Ricardo and I have written our questions, all these we've been discussing today. And it's about changing the mindset on aging. And we don't have a conclusion. It's open-ended. So it was very fun to write, and I'm very eager to have it published. So that's it.
Thank you very much, you all. Bye-bye. Thank you, Maria.